Today I'm gonna show you how to make a taco platter just like this one, a super easy project that you can get it done in just about 30 minutes. Hey you guys, I'm so excited. Today I'm going to show you how to make a taco platter. Now this is a super easy project, perfect for beginners. It sells really well and I think you will have so much fun making it. It's something useful, something that you really need. Now if you like to eat tacos, you know that there's a problem with your taco eating when you fill it up and you just can't put it down, because if you just put it down on your plate, it just tips over and the insides spill over. Also, you can now make more than one at a time. So here is a taco platter. This taco platter holds up 6 tacos, and you can fill them all up and they can wait there for you until you're ready to eat them. So that's what I'm going to show you how to make today. As you can see, it's pretty simple. Tool is basically just a board with dowels. They're spaced perfectly to hold those taco shells in place. And this is not my idea. I have not come up with this project. Let's just make that clear. This all started with a video that Derek Smiley Woodworked put out a little while ago. And he made the taco platter just like that one. And when I saw it, I said, oh my gosh, I need to have that template. It's not I want to anymore, it's I need to. Because that will make a perfect gift for my husband's birthday, which is coming up in a few days. So I messaged Derek and I said, Derek, please, I need to have that template. And he was so kind to me. He actually gifted me one. And this is his template that he sent it to me as a gift. He has his name over here, his signature, and his Etsy store. So if you want one of these templates, I'll put a link to it into the description below. It is Derek Smiley Woodworks at Etsy.com, but go into the description of the video and I'll have a link to his template. So that's what I use for my taco platter. And I want to give a big thank you to him for sending me this. I did not pay any money for it. It was just a gift because I really wanted it. He is a good friend of mine, and he also has a YouTube channel, Derek Smiley Woodworks. If you don't follow him, go check him out. He has some amazing projects. So we're going to be using his template, and you will see how quick and easy it is to make. So without any further ado, let's get right into it and see how I made it. The first thing I did is I took a plank of walnut to the jointer and flattened a face and a side, because we need square stock to make any kind of project. So super simple, super quick. This tiny little jointer, this is a Wahuda 8-inch jointer. I got it on Amazon and I'm super pleased with it. It does a fantastic job and it's still working really well after 2 years of use. So you saw me flattening the face, and now I'm flattening the side. I cut the board. If you look, the template is just a little bit short of 7 inches. So then I had to cut the board to the correct size to fit my template. But the board, it was way too wide. It was like about 1.5 inches wide. And that is way too thick for a taco platter. So I took it to the bandsaw and resaw it. That's why you didn't see me flatten the second face of the board, because I knew I was going to resaw it. So now that we already have a flat face from the jointer, we'll take that flat face onto the drum sander and straighten the other side that is parallel with the straight side. I hope this makes sense. So at the end of all of this, we should have one square piece of walnut. I did spray it with some isopropyl alcohol just to look at the grain, because this piece of walnut did have some curd to it, and I wanted to see which side it's prettier, because that's where I wanted to put the dowels. I am fitting out the template, and I put some double-sided tape to secure it to my stack of walnut. And then before I take it to the bandsaw to trim it, I need to mark it with a permanent marker. I will mark where the handle is, and also around the template. I'll be cutting this with the template on, but I always like to use some permanent marker because I can see it better at the bandsaw and I'm not going to cut into the template. So I'm also marking where the dowels go. I'm just using a pencil for this. And like I said, super simple, super easy project. I'm just using my benchtop bandsaw with a 1/4 inch blade. And the width, it's already at size. I cut it on the table saw, so I just basically have to cut around the corners. And then I'm using a flush trim bit into my router table to flush trim it to the template so everything had smooth edges, because the bandsaw does leave rough edges when you cut it. And then for the handle, I pre-drill using my 3/8 Forstner bit, because I'm using this Forstner bit to pre-drill the holes for the dowels. I did put a depth stop on my drill press, so every hole will be the same exact depth. That way when I cut the dowels to the same size, they will all fit to the same height. And pay attention here, after I cut the handle, I'm taking it to the router table, and let's watch this carefully. I got a pretty good kickback, and that is because I'm gonna play this in slow motion so you see it. That happened because I entered the cut into the end grain, and you have to be super careful. I knew this, yet sometimes I still make mistakes. Luckily, I did not get hurt, so when you enter a cut, always enter onto the side grain. After that, I use a round over bit and round it over all around the handle on the top and bottom, and the edges as well, top and bottom. All the edges wants to be round over and smooth, so it feels nice to the touch. Now, yes, I could have edited out the kickback so you guys don't see that I make mistakes, but life, it's life. I do make mistakes. Even though I knew the rule and I knew not to enter in the end grain, I still did it, and things happen. Now you see me here measuring the height of the dowels where I want to cut it. I want to make sure the dowels don't stick out too much from the taco shell, but also they're not too short and not supporting the shell. So I think mine ended up almost at 2.5 inches. And then I am using this little handsaw jig thingy, and I am cutting one by one by hand. I could have taken this to the bandsaw, but I think it gives me a cleaner cut if I just cut it with a handsaw. And then I'm using the piece that I already cut to measure the next piece, and this is the way I'll be cutting every single one by hand. Now, what you don't see me doing is that I actually pre-sanded the board. I sand it all the way to 220 and then raise the grain and sand it again. And I pretty much did the same thing with the dowels. I water pop it and sand them because I don't want them to become not smooth when you wash the board. And to sand them, I just chuck them into my drill, and then I'm holding the sandpaper while I'm spinning the dowel, and that will sand it really nicely and easily. And then when I'm done sanding, I'll be running the edge of the dowel onto the sandpaper with 150 grit to create a chamfer. And because I want the parts that stick out to the top to have a little chamfer, I just think that will just make it for a prettier board. It's just those little details that, matters. So that's the way I've dealt with the dowels. Super easy, super fast. You can do it too. So there's my little chamfer. And then dry fit everything. Make sure that every dowel fits into the proper hole. You do not want to find yourself where you already put glue, but the dowel doesn't fit and you need to do more sanding. So I'm just dry fitting everything, and then once everything is dry fit, I will pull them out and then use glue and glue them. First, give it one more sanding after water popping, just to knock down that raised grain. And I'm testing my new sander that I bought myself for my birthday, and so far I'm loving it, although there are some things I don't like about them. But give it a quick sand, and then I'm just using wood glue, Tide Bond 3, put a little bit in each hole. I'm working one line at a time because it makes it easier to clean the glue squeeze out. It will be very hard to sand afterwards, so I want to make sure that I remove all that glue squeeze out. So I'm doing one row of the dowels, and then when that is all nice and clean, I'll move to the second row, and that's the way I put in the dowels. So you might wonder, how do you clamp such a thing to make sure you get a good glue up of those dowels? Well, you will see it's a pretty simple process. What I did after I placed all the dowels in with the glue and I removed absolutely every little bit of squeeze out, which took a while to do, I just put it on, I put a piece of wood on top of it and I placed a really heavy weight on it, and that did the trick. For the finish, I just used mineral oil, super simple, finish it like a cutting board, and then I used a board butter, that is mineral oil and beeswax, and that's the way I finished it, again, just like any other cutting board you would be making. After the oil sat for about 15 minutes, I wiped it down with some paper towels, and then of course I had to dry fit the taco shells to make sure that they actually do fit. And don't worry, these taco shells, I did throw them out because they're all dusty after I had them in the shop, so I will not be eating those ones. Our taco platter ended up spectacular. Look how well it works. I am so happy with it, and I cannot wait to give it to my husband. I hope this was useful to you and you learned something new. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Skylar Ewing, and I'll see you in my next video.